It's me again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Poetic People Fighting Racism. Double PFR. Let's get this screen right a little bit. Yes, double PFR. And I'm your host, Anthony Cordova, Tony C., the man about love. Yes, I am. And I'm coming to you right here from Fireside, which is cool. Also, let me let you know here at Double PFR, we discuss racism and the caste system in the United States of America through poetry, through art, through music, using the voices of our souls, using the strength of our ancestors to heal the fractured country we live in and die in. Now, here at Double PFR, all souls are welcome, all people are welcome. Welcome to discuss the racism we live in, so come on in. We'll put our arms around you, providing a safe place for you, a home to protect you, a place where you're surrounded by hope, where you're surrounded by compassion, where you're surrounded by empathy, forgiveness, and love. Surrounded by a lot of love, because I put a lot of love out all the time. So I'd love for you to come in with me, to stand by me, to see what we can do to change this country, to change the people that live in this country. So I welcome you to Double PFR with so much love, so much love. So welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, yes, yes. Another night. Here we are. Another night. Another night. Another Saturday night, and I'm here again. I'm here again. Real quick, Jill. Do we have anybody in the audience yet? I can't tell for sure. Who do we have?
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, but Suzam BCP.
Suzanne.
Zam
Suzanne. Well, I hope I'm saying that.
BCP. I'm not sure
BC.
I'm saying
Yeah,
it correctly, and I
I'm not.
apologize
I don't
if
even
I'm
want to
not.
screw it up more than I already have. So, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. And if you're new to this show and this is the first time you're seeing it, um, I'm Anthony Cordova. I'm a spoken word artist, and I've written a book of poetry, actually, a manuscript. I haven't even tried to get it published yet, called Living and Dying. And that manuscript covers the racism and caste system in the United States. Now, I provide a safe place here, so there's no hatred going on here. There's only love. There is no question that's a bad question or a stupid question. I am willing to answer any question that's in my power, and I will truly try to do that. As I said pre-show, a good way to find out more about me is through the website, which is knowtoBestill.com, which is KNOW number two letter B still.com. Or you can just tap the fortune cookie, the scroll of words going across the screen, and that will bring up all of the information. Now, the title of this episode is Follow the White Brick Road. So I'm going to do a poem that makes reference to that in the beginning, but it goes into some other things too. And I will typically discuss that poem after I do it, unless I do another poem first. So we'll see how that goes. And remember, anytime you wish, just hit the ask button or the comments button, whichever one is there. If you have a question or a comment, and I'm always happy if you hit the applause. Emoji. So there's three emojis across the bottom that you can use at any time during the show, and that is the clap, the laugh, and the party sounds. And we will see it, and you will see it, and we will hear it, and it pops up on the screen. So I'll know you're there. And so instead of hearing crickets, which is cool, they'll like to hear crickets. And I'm like, oh, nobody's there. But even when nobody's there, the show must go on. So I still continue. Let's see. Is there anything else I need to bring up? Yes, again, I'm going to bring up if I am not fitting your screen properly, just pinch it down, pinch it down, pinch it down, and I will come right into frame. Because I don't want you to have to look at me like this, the whole time, and and that's what it would look like. So we don't want that. Not at all. Okay. Um, I'm gonna start doing this poem. The poem tonight is actually called Escalators. Um, so I'm going to be doing that. But first, especially if you're new to the show, I make reference to the blue and white eyes. And the blue and white eyes is not necessarily people with blue and white eyes. The blue and white eyes refers to people of European descent that believe their blood is purer than anyone else's blood, and it makes them pure. So they believe they have this pure blue blood running through their veins that makes them superior to anyone else. And the white part refers to seeing the world or seeing this country through the mind of a white person in this country. And that's basically it. Quite often, these are the people that are in powerful positions or not, because they can do things to people of other colors or races just because they could be your boss, they could be a coworker or a colleague. It could be anyone that for some reason just doesn't like you because of the color of your skin or your nationality or anything like that. So now I will get right into this poem. And again, this is called Escalators, but it refers also right in the open of the poem to the title of this episode, which was Follow the White Brick Road. So here we go. We're going to cue up some music and get right into it. Wait, there's two things playing. There we go. In this country of lies, we travel white brick roads covered with cutting tongues and hateful stares, trying to find our place in the land of white dreams, reaching for something we thought we had in 1865, reaching for equality through freedom, searching for something we've never seen. It's like a dream black lives live in, not a dream we find good in. Every day we're living nightmares in this country of lies. Black lives just living and dying from white lies. They kept us on escalators for most of our lives, leading us down to basements and dungeons overrun with hatred and racism and layers of abjectation and degradation. Escalators designed to run us down, to wear us down till we don't know whether we're facing up or facing down. We run for our lives, trying to reach up to true freedom, to come up to the light, to rise up from the darkness of oppression, from the hatred of racism. This is the view of black lives while we live and die, just trying to survive, just trying to make it without dying. Just trying to make it without our brothers and sisters dying. Just trying to make it without our fathers and mothers dying. Just trying to make it without our children dying before lying in little graves from the racist minds we live and die from in this country of lies. They kept us on escalators for most of our lives, leading us down, pulling us down lower and lower into the muck and mud, into the puke and crud this country has made for us to live in, to swim in. But we keep breathing and living and coming and growing smarter and stronger the longer they try to lead us down, to pull us down into the darkness of subjugation, into the cruelty of domination. A nation made from the creation of white dreams and enslaved souls, the days of old, good old boys in white robes and hoods that stood for the hatred of black lives in this country of lies. We see the blue and white eyes for the lies they tell black lives. We see their demise for the lies they tell about God's laws. We see their days growing weaker as we grow closer. We count the days their demise is coming for the lies they believe in, for what they've done to our black lives in this country of lies. Their demise is coming from the pain they inflicted on our lives. They kept us on escalators for most of our lives, running us down, keeping us down. Do you see? We're flipping the switch from down to up, riding up in the right direction, up from the darkness of oppression, up from the hatred of racism. This day has been coming. The day is here now. Their demise is coming for making racist laws to be above God's laws. Their demise is coming. Their demise is coming. Okay, that was that. That's a pretty heavy one. And usually I go back through this poem from the beginning to the end, and I explain, and thank you. I explain what I meant by some of the phrases in here. Now, also, always want to let you know that I don't preach hatred, and I'm all about love, and we really do need to learn to love each other. So when I wrote this poem, and specifically when I talk about the demise, I am not talking about an uprising at all. So I'm going to start first by explaining what I meant when I talked about demise of the blue and white eyes, so I can be clear on that from the beginning. So let me find the line. Okay, right here. We see their demise for the lies they tell about God's laws. So, quite often, people will take phrases from the Bible and say things like, God wanted us to enslave Africans. They said God wanted us to do it. Now, in the Bible, yes, many countries, many places have enslaved another group of people, but in the end, it was always wrong. Always wrong. Now, when I talk about the demise, it's not something that I have to do or you have to do. See, because all of this, until 1865, until 1865. But then even after that, we had the Ku Klux Klans, and then we had government, city government, state government, county government, also still keeping us in place, keeping us subjugated. So till this day, and we still are, by getting pulled over by police more than anyone else. The murder rate in our race, in the black race, is higher than anywhere else, and uh, I'm not even going to get into. People will say, "Well, it's black on black crime," and I can get into a long discussion of why that even happens. But we get killed by police. We get anyway. There's so many reasons, but the point is that for over 400 years now in this country, we have been under the thumb of a system that is designed to try to keep us in place. So we're talking about red lines. Red lines is where uh, a city or real estate agents would, and it's usually in conjunction with the city or the county, decide where people of color could live. Okay, so and if people of color lived in that area, the property values were also brought down. Okay, so these things happen all the time. We'll see what happens. So that's what I mean when I say their demise is coming, because you can't keep treating people like that, like this. You can't. Sooner or later, you're going to have to pay. You sooner or later, maybe long after I'm dead, but sooner or later. So that is what that is all about. Um, and now I'm going to jump to the beginning of the poem. Uh, in this country, in this country of lies, we travel white brick roads. So yeah, we don't have if you're a person of color, we can't follow the yellow brick road and end up in Oz. Nah, we follow that white brick road that kind of tells us where we can go and where we can't go. And when we deviate from that white brick road, that is when things get difficult. And things are difficult for us often, quite often on a daily basis. So, we're on this white brick road and, we're encountering uh, cutting tongues. So these people are saying things to just be hurtful to us and just saying hateful type of things. Um, and in the land of white dreams, we're not in the land of Oz. That's for sure. We're in the land of white dreams. So that American to a good public school, because the public schools are tied to the neighborhood you live in. Okay, so if you live in a lower income neighborhood, you're going to go to a low performing school. Unless your parents are rich and can afford to send you to a private school somewhere else. But again, if you are living behind red lines, you probably can't afford to send your child to private school. It's just the way it is, plain and simple. Let me see. Let's go down a little further. Okay, now the part where I start getting into escalators. We all know what an escalator is. We use them often. We use them often in stores and everything else. But if you're thinking about getting ahead in life, you want to go up, you want to rise up. But this country has created a system that kind of just keeps us going in a downward direction. Now, if you have ever tried to go up on an escalator that's going down, it is extremely difficult. Extremely. I mean, you got to work three times as hard to go up on a down escalator. So I feel like people of color in this country are been put on that down escalator, and it just keeps pulling us down. And if we just stand there, it's going to take us all the way down, all the way. So we always have to fight. That is actually true. We do have to work two and three times as hard to make it to the same spot, to make it to the same income, to make it to the same neighborhood. We just have to work harder, which is fact. It's just fact. This is something I think no one would dispute in this country, that you have to work three times as hard if you are a person of color. So that's what the escalators in going down is. I go down further, and where we are just trying to survive, just trying to make it without dying. Now, we really have to do that. We have to do that when we drive our cars, because people of color, and again, I don't care where you come from and what color you are, if you're Asian, if you're African, from Africa, I mean, real African. If you are South Asian, same thing, same thing. If you have any color, if you're Egyptian, you got a problem here too. Anyone of color, you have a problem here. So just trying to survive. So you know that when you get pulled over by an officer, and maybe you were speeding, excuse me, maybe you weren't. Okay, all right, but you should be treated fairly, not like a criminal, when there's a minor infraction. Cut short. Some kids can just be playing. Kids can be playing cops and robbers. Many kids play cops and robbers, when they're young, or they might be playing, like a superhero game, and one is the villain and one is the hero, and even children just playing can get shot and killed by officers. When I was a kid, nobody jogged. Nobody went running for exercise. Only time you can do that is if you were on a track field. But if you were not on a track field, you did not go running, because there was a high likelihood that you were going to get pulled over and harassed by a cop. Because if you're running, they assumed that you did something, that you stole something. Also, when I was a kid, cops used to think could be me and a couple of friends, and like we're like 12, 13 years old, and we can be walking down the sidewalk, maybe three or four of us, and a cop could come the other direction, and he would do a U-turn, drive down the sidewalk up right behind us on the sidewalk to see if we'd run. Because if we ran, we did something about it. Why do you keep bringing it up? I keep bringing it up. One, because it's still going on. Two, we don't need to forget history. We need to know how we got to this point we're in. We need to know everything is not okay. And I always have to say, I love this country. This is my home. There are many things I do here that if I was in another country, I could not do. I love this country. This is where my family is. This is where I've lived all my life. So when somebody tells me, why don't you go back to where you came from? I live in Georgia. I said, what? New York? I'm not moving back there. But they want me to go back to Africa. I wasn't born in Africa. I didn't come. I wasn't born in Africa. So it doesn't make sense. Send me back to someplace I've never been. That's not sending me back. So, anyway, all of these things I tell you are true. Um, so further on down here, I go, back into the escalators and how they keep pulling us down. But then I go into, excuse me, a nation and enslaved and made and enslaved and made to work for free. And I said this a couple of shows ago, but nowadays, today, in the times we live in now, there are politicians saying that black people need to be thankful that they were slaves here because they learned a trade. Okay. No one in their right mind is going to be thankful that they were a slave. No one anywhere in the whole world. There's no such thing as a happy slave. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. So when people say that, know that it's a lie. And that's why I refer quite often to growing up in the country of lies. Because this country, as much as I love it, they paint a picture that this country is like perfect. You know, this is perfect. Who wouldn't want to live here? But it's not perfect. There's no place that's perfect. And the way this country was created definitely wasn't perfect. Can you imagine today if you went and applied for a job and they said, "Hey, you got the job, but we're only going to pay you with food." That's it. And you're going to have to work 18 hours a day. Yeah. The days of old. Yeah. The days of old, good old boys in white robes and hoods that stood for the hatred of black lives in the country of lies. Now, during slavery, before 1865, there was no Ku Klux Klan. None. Why not? They didn't need Ku Klux Klan because we were already enslaved. They didn't need another means to keep us in line, okay? To keep us doing what they wanted us to do. So after 1865, how are they going to keep us in line? How are they going to keep oppressing us? Here comes the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, and Ku Klux Klan isn't the only means they had to oppress us. That was just one of the ways through violence. Through violence. So if you know that if you look at a white person in the eye, you look at them just like anyone else. Hey, hi, how you doing? There's very high likelihood that you're going to get killed for doing that. This is after slavery. You will be lynched, and they will make an event out of it. Okay? This is after slavery. This is also during my lifetime. Okay? These things actually still happen. Can guarantee you 100% a black person will never hang themselves from a tree. Never. They will not commit suicide that way. Never. So these kinds of so-called suicides still happen to this day. Yeah, he hung himself. Yeah. hmm Do you know there are places in this country where black people are still just killed for fun? For fun. Now this was a while ago. This maybe was 20 years ago in Texas. And they got a hold of this black guy and tied, I can't remember whether it was ropes or chains, but I think it was chains, to his ankles, attached it to the back of a pickup truck, and just drug him. Drug him so long and so hard that his body just kind of fell apart. Just fell apart. You know, and there and if I remember correctly, they did catch the guys that did it. Speaking of that story, Jill, but I'm not gonna tell that story. I'm not gonna. Yeah, that will be here for a while if I tell that story. Um, so yeah, these things still go on, and it's part of the reason why I'm here talking about it. Now, I thank Fireside so much for just allowing me to have this show. And as long as I can do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be here. And I don't make any money for this. This is my part. This is my part of being an everyday activist. Yeah, I'm just one person in the big picture. I'm just a nobody. I'm nobody special. Just like you, just like anybody else. But this is what I can do. Is what I can do to try to help create some change. So, and what you're doing is you're just here listening. And that's part of being an everyday activist also because you don't have to be here. You don't have to listen to these poems. You don't have to listen to me talk about what goes on in this country. You don't have to be, but you are here and thank you. May talk to someone else about it. Cool. It's good. That's how we make change. We have to talk. We have to have the conversations that we don't want to have. We have to do these things because, like I said, I love this country. I love it. I probably would not live anywhere else in the world. I really love it here, but it's not perfect. So I want to help make it better. Make it better. All right, let's move on. Okay, I have down here that we're beginning to flip the switch from down to up. And and we are making progress. But the more progress we make, the more things the government now takes away from us. And again, I'm not going to go into exactly what is being done, the rights that are getting taken away from us, because again, that's a conversation that will be for hours. I can do a whole show. But yes, we are losing ground, but we gain ground, and we lose ground, and we gain ground, and we lose ground. But it doesn't mean we're gonna stop. Every person of color that was born in this country understand. Aaron will try to get us. Aaron will try to get us arrested just for walking in the park because they don't feel we should be there. You know, I have a small boat, and when I first started going to the lake, oh my God, they didn't like that. They didn't like seeing my face at the lake. So issues of racism happened to me quite often, at the lake, because they didn't want me there, but I kept going. A friend of mine that also had a boat had every single one of his tires slashed. Every single one. 6 tires. the the 4 tires on the vehicle and the 2 vehicles on the actually 7 tires. They even slashed his spare that was on the boat. Okay. Uh these things don't happen to people that are white. It just don't. Unless they specifically get in a fight with somebody that doesn't like them. But these things I'm telling you are unprovoked things. It's strictly because of the color of our skin. And it's not right. We have to create some change. To be an everyday activist, I want you to remember to to be love and show love. I also want you to do something different. Do something different in your life, in your day. Go to work in a different direction. Help somebody that you wouldn't normally not help, or speak to somebody that you normally wouldn't speak to. But whatever you do, just do something different. Eat a different meal than you usually do. Do something different, because every time you do something different, something will change. Something will change. And the idea is, if you keep doing something different, it gets easier and easier and easier, and you're more likely to create some type of real change. So that's what I would love for you to do. Let's see. The music playing right now is Choral by 29 Beats, and the music I played during the poem I did was called Traffic by Boom Bap. Yeah. Also, my next show is episode 20, and that's on September 30th. And the title of that episode is Hate Me, Love Me. Hate Me, Love Me. Hate Me, Love Me. Let's figure out which is better. I think I know. I think I know the answer to that. So I'm going to start closing this out. I'm going to turn off the video. And again, everyone that was here in the audience live, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that have listened to this show on replay, thank you.